What does it take to be a successful investor in the stock market? Developing your skills and learning from an expert like Phil Grande and philsgang.com.
It doesn't have to be hard or complicated to learn how to invest in stocks properly. It's like anything else. You're going to golf, or you're going to learn how to play tennis, ski. You need to be with someone, learn off of them, one-on-one. Now that can be really expensive, cost thousands of dollars, but I have a program that you can join for 10 days free.
Go to philsgang.com and sign up for a free 10-day trial. Phil Grande has developed tools to teach you how to invest in stocks properly. Not only when to buy stocks, but how to sell stocks short.
85% of people in the market lose money. Get out of that group by just joining Phil's gang.
Now you can learn to invest like a pro with a pro, Phil Grande. Take advantage of this special offer for a free 10-day trial at philsgang.com.
Try it. 10 days free.
That's philsgang.com.
philsgang.com.
When the stock market is up one day and down the next, you need experienced advice from a pro.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of philsgang.com. I know you're sitting there watching the stock market. You're going, what? Is this nuts? Market goes up 700 points. Next day goes up 800 points. Then the market goes back down. Then it goes back up. What that is volatility.
You want to invest your money and grow your wealth. How do you invest intelligently?
But you got to anticipate what's going to happen with the market. And that's what we give you. Information so you can anticipate in advance what the market's going to do, so you know what stocks to buy, you know what stocks to short. It's all about having good information and anticipation. You got to anticipate. The one thing you can't do is rely on your brokers. Listen.
Our responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
What are you, nuts? Partners and shareholders? You're not included.
Check out the free 10-day trial and follow Phil to investing success. Learn more at philsgang.com. philsgang.com. Want the truth when investing in the stock market? Here's how.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. Listen to my radio show every day because that's where you're going to get the truth. You're not going to get the truth listening to these dopes on Fake Business News Network. The other day, Kramer said, don't listen to the banks. They're giving you wrong information. When he told you to buy Merrill Lynch, remember? And what happened? They went broke.
Get the truth at philsgang.com.
Join my gang, philsgang.com. Get the truth. And also listen to me on my podcast on YouTube and Rumble. That's philsgang.com.
I've been a Phil's Gang member since 2014. Over that time, I've generated over six-figure profits. Following Phil, his charting system has really been a huge impact on my career and my life. I would recommend Phil's Gang to the mom and pop out there. I would recommend it to parents teaching their children. I would recommend it to grandparents. If you really trust in their system, you will do well.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. Want the truth when investing in the stock market? Here's how.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. Listen to my radio show every day because that's where you're going to get the truth. You're not going to get the truth listening to these dopes on Fake Business News Network. The other day, Kramer said, don't listen to the banks. They're giving you wrong information. When he told you to buy Merrill Lynch, remember? And what happened? They went broke.
Get the truth at philsgang.com.
Join my gang, philsgang.com. Get the truth. And also listen to me on my podcast on YouTube and Rumble. That's philsgang.com. Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. You know, over the years, I've successfully taught tens of thousands of investors how to navigate the market with confidence. Become a Phil's Gang member and receive the training, the advice, and the software that will take your investing to the next level. You know, I have a team comprised of successful investors, all with proven track records. And the Phil's Gang software is easy to use, painless to navigate, and tells you exactly when to buy, when to sell, when to hold, when to run like hell, even short. Learn about common market mistakes and how to minimize them. You don't have to be a seasoned investor to benefit from Phil's Gang and platform. No matter what level investor you are, my strategies for investing are designed to put you on the path to success. Sign up for the 10-day free trial to see our platform in action. Avoid market pitfalls and start winning with Phil's Gang. Learn more at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
There's a lot of noise out there in the financial world. Bank failures, interest rates, bonds versus stocks. It's a lot. That's why it's important to find a voice of reason that can guide you through these volatile times. Phil Grande and philsgang.com is where you can find honest, helpful guidance to successful investing.
Get the knowledge and understand how the market really works.
And for a limited time, you can join Phil's Gang free for 10 days.
Phil's Gang philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Hi, I'm Phil Grande of philsgang.com. Over the years, I've successfully taught tens of thousands of investors how to navigate the market with confidence. Become a Phil's Gang member and receive the training, the advice, and the software that will take your investing to the next level. I have a team comprised of successful investors, all with proven track records, and the Phil's Gang software is easy to use.
The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
There has been no tariff-induced inflation in a general price level since the tariffs began being implemented in January.
Well, how could there be? There's only two tariffs, the UK and Vietnam. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's amazing to me, this whole tariff deal. Like today, market now is down. Yesterday it was up because the jibber-jabbers on TV keep telling us, don't worry, everything's just fine. Welcome to my YouTube and radio show I do every Friday. For those who don't know me, my name is Phil Grande, named Entrepreneur of the Year. Also, made the Inc. 500 list, the 500 fastest growing companies. Two of my companies are on that list. And I was in Donald Trump's first book. He talked about me in that book. And all of that, what I really do is trade stocks, and I've been doing that for 50 years. But I started Phil's Gang about 20 years ago. So let's get back to business. This big, beautiful bill has a very ugly corner in it that no one's talking about. They won't talk about it. We keep hearing how the tariffs are unfair. And Donald Trump ran on that. And I know him well. And I used to get so upset because, remember, he used to say, the tariffs are so unfair. If we go to sell a car in some country, they're going to charge us 50%. They sell the car here, it's 5%. How unfair, how unfair. But we started that. That was our plan. We're the ones that started that. We wanted that. Let's go back to when we started to outsource. Remember that? Late 60s and 70s? I remember that well. Remember, Wall Street, these crooks, they weren't making enough money in the manufacturing sector. Remember, Wall Street made most of its money as an industrial-based nation. That's where they made their money from us being an industrial-based nation, because what did they do? They made deals. They raised the money. If GE wanted to buy Verizon, Verizon wanted to buy Ford, that's how they made money. That's what they did. But then they figured out, wait a minute, we're an industrial-based nation, but we don't make a lot of money. Okay, on Wall Street, why don't we change it around that we're a financial-based nation and we're a debtor nation? We will make a fortune screwing everybody. This is how it worked. So they decided, why should we manufacture stuff here? Let's stop manufacturing and let's send all the stuff over to Japan, China. And some went to Japan. And here's what they will make a deal with them. Look, we know that consumers, as long as you feed them money, they will buy, even if they don't need it. even if they can't afford it. But as long as they have enough credit at the banks and they can borrow on their credit card, we didn't have credit cards back then, but as long as they could get money in their hands, they would buy. And that's where we can make a lot of money, on debt. And we can make a lot of money on debt bringing companies public, because now we're going to be our economy be driven by finance. So their idea was, let the consumer get so deep in debt. But how are we going to support that debt? That everybody go bankrupt? No. They said, let's do this. Let's take all our products that we make here and manufacture, and we tell China, you manufacture. In other words, the shirt that we manufacture for $32, why don't you manufacture this shirt for $2, so we can buy it for $2. Great. So, and then what we want you to do with all those profits, when you send us that shirt, it's only going to be $2 at Walmart instead of $32. All those profits you are making, exporting your goods to us, take those profits and keep buying our debt. Because we love debt. We love to spend. Our Congress will never stop spending. But as long as you keep buying our debt, we can grow this country. And as long as the consumer doesn't go bankrupt. And the best way to take care of him is when all of a sudden his credit cards are nearing tapped out. He's tapped out on his house. He's strangling. Don't let him go into bankruptcy. He'll have extra money because he's buying a shirt for $2 instead of $32. So they kept the consumer, okay? They kept that consumer subsidized. Think of it as being subsidized, so he doesn't go under. The whole thing was a plan, so he doesn't go under. And then all the money that China's making, they're going to come back and buy all our debt that's driven by our Congress to get reelected. That's the deal. There was no unfairness here. None. Zero. So that was the plan. And then remember, in the 60s and 70s, when they started to outsource, then all of a sudden we became a financial country, a debtor nation. And we became this powerful financial center. Wall Street, that was really like a nothing business then, started to boom. And that's when we started to have 401ks and all these products, and they were making a fortune on Wall Street, doing mergers and acquisitions, taking companies public. They weren't doing that. When we were a manufacturing giant. There was more money in finance. So that's how we got to where we are. Now listen to this. The national debt in 1970 was $9 million. It's now had an increase of 400%. 400%. 400%, I think that's right. 400% to 36 trillion. To 36 trillion. From 2008? I think it was from 1970 to 1970 was at 9 million, and now today it's 36 trillion. I think that's ranked 400%, if I'm correct. So that's over 16 years. Now think about this: consumer debt is a giant, and consumer debt went from 12 trillion 16 years ago to 18 trillion. That's a 44% increase. And then you take the national debt from 2008 at 10 trillion to 2025, 37 trillion. That's a 260% increase. So see where I'm going with this? This is all done by design. So, and if you really think about deficits, they went nuts from 2008 at $454 billion to today $2 trillion, a 313% increase. So our deficits increased by 313%, the national debt increased by 260%, and the consumer debt is up over 44%. That's insane. So how do they keep this going? How does this Ponzi scheme keep going? It's very simple. it all started with the outsourcing. So as long as China keeps manufacturing, and remember, 89% of our consumers shop at the big box stores. They shop at Walmart, Target, Costco. Almost 90%. That's a fact. Look it up. Because that's the only way consumers today can survive, because we're subsidizing them. So all these cheap, so instead of going and buying a shovel for $55, they can buy a shovel for $10 because it comes from Japan. An air conditioner for your home, same thing. Instead of $5,000, you can get one for, I don't know, $2,200, whatever it is. So we've been subsidized. And Wall Street's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more powerful. Then all of a sudden, the top 1%, the 1/100 of 1%, not talking about the top 1%, sorry, the top 1/100%, guess what? They control everything. They made so much money. George Carlin, okay, in 2006, here's what he said about them.
You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the
Someone's got to fix that. All right, sorry about that. Maybe we get that. Maybe we could try it one more time. But anyways, his point was the top 1 percentile, they own everything.
Houses and city halls, they got the judges in their back pockets, and they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear.
So when you hear how we're doing this because they have not been fair, they've been screwing us. No, we've been screwing the consumer. We've been screwing America, Wall Street, and Congress. This is their idea. Going back, that's how outsourcing started. Now, the other thing that we have to understand is that CNBC, or Squawk Box, started in 1995. Boy, do I remember that. What was their job? Their job, remember, who created Squawk Box? Wall Street. Who financed Squawk Box? Advertising. Someone's got to pay for the airtime. Wall Street. Squawk Box, Wall Street were interconnected. Because how did they get the money to produce Squawk Box? Because they got it from Wall Street. When you go look at back then, especially back then, even today, notice most of the advertisement are big banks, Wall Street firms, and guess what else? Always notice car manufacturers. And who controls the car manufacturer? Who raises all the money for the car manufacturers? Wall Street. So they're tied in. So that's how CNBC got started. What was their job? Wall Street needed somebody to drive positive. Okay, we needed sentiment that was positive consumer and business sentiment is what I'm trying to say. That's what that was for. CNBC Squawk Box was put there by Wall Street to drive consumer confidence, okay, and their sentiment, to make their sentiment so positive they'll go out and spend and keep spending. And and as I said, they don't go bankrupt because we bail them out by making sure China, we buy all the goods from China, so that also their credit card due or their car payments due. And it's because now they're buying stuff, instead of for $50, they can buy it for $5. That money, that savings subsidizes them, keeps them afloat. So that's why you never listen to these financial shows. They're propaganda. It's always noise. So, and the proof of that is how we're being sold that these tariffs are no big deal. Yesterday, the market rallied, okay? The market rallied yesterday because they came out and said, the tariffs, not to worry about them. It's behind us now. There's not going to be any, well, here, you heard this.
There has been no tariff-induced inflation in a general price level sense since the tariffs began being implemented in January.
The tariffs? The tariffs? There's only been 2 tariffs that have been raised, UK and Vietnam. Now, Wall Street is saying that it's not going to happen. Trump is not going to whack these countries. He backed off in April when he saw the stock market go down 1,000%, and the stock market is every 1,000 points, and Trump, that's all he thinks about is the stock market. As long as they report the stock market is up, he's king. That's how he thinks, that he's being judged by the stock market. He's being judged by the stock market. That's how he thinks. So he's going to do anything and everything to keep the stock market going up. And there's no better salesman than him. Never bet against Donald Trump. Okay? Never. Now, listen to this.
We certainly see this as an exciting time to be an investor. For me, it's the best time ever. It's the best time to be an investor.
Yeah, best time to be an investor as long as we go back to 0 rates. And guess what? We can't. Why? I'll tell you when we get back. Join my gang, Phil's gang, free for 10 days.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from, all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
When making wise investment decisions, Phil Grande has some sound reasons you should join Phil's gang.
You know, when I started this, they asked me, okay, can you explain to people why they should join the gang? Gee, I thought about that. And I guess to make money. But more than that, to get good direction on which way the economy's really going. We get so much crap, so many lies, how great the economy is and how great the tech business is, and when it's not. The problem is we have too many people in Washington and in this industry that just don't tell the truth. The truth is everything. And here at Phil's Gang, we stick with the facts. We tell the truth. We make sure our members, are getting the best information, and our listeners, like you. We make that information available to you and make it simple and understandable.
Good investing means understanding how the stock market works. Join today at philsgang.com. Welcome back. Are you ready to make profits in the stock market? Why not check out philsgang.com or give us a call, 877-600-4264. Now, here's Phil.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. I do the show every Friday, and during the week at 3 o'clock, I do a live show and on Instagram. So I do that every day at 3 o'clock, okay? So you can check that out. Also, again, join my gang, okay? Phil's Gang. It's free, where we teach you how to trade correctly, how to do it right, okay? And again, once you learn how to sell short and go long, that's when you make money. Think about it. It's insane that 85% of people in the market the last 50 years lose money. And here's why. They have too many stocks they follow, number one. They're always looking for the hot stock. That's one problem. And And that's the big problem right there. And the other problem is they don't short. When you have just 6 stocks, our portfolio, we have 6. We have actually 7. We're in the spiders all the time. But when you have 6 stocks, that's when you start making money. Why? Because when you're following just 6, and they're the best 6 stocks, whether they're in tech or housing, whatever it happens to be at the time, if you just follow those stocks, you will pick up the buy signal early. 85% of people never do that because they're listening to the fake business network and they're selling you stocks that they're told to sell you that somebody already made money on. It's like going down to JCPenney and you think, I'm going to go JCPenney, I'm going to buy a suit for $200 and I'm going to put it in front of the store, put a sign up for $500. No, you'll never make money buying retail and trying to sell retail. You can't do that. Everybody be doing that, right? No, it doesn't work. You got to buy wholesale. All these people buy stocks wholesale, but you're not allowed to buy wholesale. They mark it up to you. That's why it's hard for you to make money in the market and sustain it. Now, the other thing they do, okay, the jibber jabbers, besides make you feel good that the world's great, get your consumers, get your sentiment up there, make you feel wonderful. That's what their main job is that these financial jibber jabbers tell us that the Fed has reversed inflation from 9% to 2%. That's a total lie. Inflation is still double digits. The real inflation. It's just like when they tell you, hey, we have a strong labor market. Boy, is it strong. Really? Yeah, look at that. The unemployment rate, you're down to 4%, man. We only have so many. What do? They don't ever include the people who can't find a job. They don't put them in. So if you're out of a job and you've been looking for a job and you can't find a job, I think it's over 4 months, 5 months, whatever it is, you don't get counted as unemployed anymore. They drop you off the list. You know how many millions of people are in that state, but you don't show up on the list. This is all the stuff they do. That's why the people who make money consistently in the market turn off the noise. They follow 6 stocks the most and the S&P, and they know how to sell short. Why is that so important? Because then you can finally follow just 6 stocks. There's no such thing as a hot stock. It's a hot pattern. When you wait for that pattern, you got 6 stocks, you're going to wait. Each one of those 6 stocks, maybe you get 2 a week, 3 a week, and you get the right pattern to push the buy button, to execute. You never execute in the right position when you're buying all kinds of stocks and holding on to all kinds of stocks. That's why you don't make money. But when you have 6 stocks and you wait for that pattern and you execute that buy signal, then you execute, here's the important one, executing the sell short signal. You can't make money just buying stock. Sure, you'll make it, but you always give it back. You always give it back. Once you know how to sell a stock short, you can make money with just 1 stock. When you don't short, you have limited yourself. It's like taking a $100 bill and ripping it in half. And then you can break away from the noise. You can break away. What's the market doing? What's the market doing? You call your broker. What should we do? What should we do? Should I get out? Should I stay in? Should I get out? Should I stay in? You should say you shouldn't be in it, period. And by the way, he should say to you, oh, you know that crap I put you in, the 60-40? He didn't tell you you're not going to make money in the bond market for a very long time. Have you seen this? They won't tell you that. They won't tell you the truth. So again, if you look at what they don't want you to know, which is a lot of things, when they tell you that inflation has gone from 9% to 2%, that rate has come down, it's a lie. Because remember, when they talk about the inflation rate, it's about the rate. But here's what they won't tell you. A rate at which they measure the speed of the increase or decrease. Example, think of it as you were driving a car from point A to point B. And all of a sudden you're going 40 miles an hour. Then you go 60, then you go back to 40, you go to 90, go back to 40. But That's the rate at which your car is moving, right? But you're still moving. It's the same thing with inflation. Inflation continues to go up because we keep borrowing money and we keep printing money. So they lie about that. That's more noise. So remember, when they tell you about the inflation rate, it's the rate at which the inflation increases. That's all it is. But to say, well, we dropped from 9% to 2% is a bunch of BS. The biggest BS I ever heard. So, I mean, it's, and again, the biggest thing that drives that stock market is sentiment. Boy, they know how to do that. They know how to tweet you and get you going, tweak you and get you going. And remember, very few stocks are creating these rallies. This whole rally that we've been in since 2008 is all tech. It's all tech. A couple of stocks. You know, like the rally that we broke out to a new high, only 10 stocks participated. Now you want to hear the real bad news? The real bad news is once it broke out, they look around, okay, let's count how many stocks are at a new high. First, 10 stocks push you up through that new high. But when they looked around, only 22 stocks in the whole 500, S&P 500, were new highs. That's the worst breath ever recorded in a stock market. The average, if you take the average last 5 breakouts up to new high, the average was 65, 75, all making a new high. Are you kidding? We're at 22. So the best thing is just never listen to the crap. Never listen to noise. Follow the money. And when you follow the money, what I mean by following the money, like on my chart here I designed 25 years ago, over 225,000 people have used this chart since then. It tells you if money's going in or money's coming out. And you use that with your regular chart. So if you're looking to buy small mid-cap stocks today, you look at your chart, and if you go back, you got red, now you got 3 green days, 1 green day, 1 red day. It's like a Christmas tree. This will tell you if money is going in, continually going into that stock. And when the stock starts pulling back, as long as it stays green, and then you check, and as long as these 2 lines that we built in, as long as those lines don't cross over, it means it's going to go right back up. What fantastic, valuable information that is. Think about that. Market starts going up. People go, get me out, get me out, get me out. I'm getting killed, get me out. But the stock's going to go right back up. But they don't know that because they're following the wrong thing. They're following the wrong thing. What you follow, all that's important is follow the money, not the noise, not the earnings, not the debt ratios, not how much free cash flow the company has. That's all gone. Those days are over. With the technology we have today, those days are over. So, but when you follow the money, and you can tell if money's going in that stock you're buying or you're in or you invested in or it's starting to come out, you can position yourself, and when it starts going down, you sell it short. It's not hard. In fact, the next time your stock goes down and you get scared, you don't want to short it, just take your screen, flip it upside down, right, or reverse itself going up. Now you're going to feel good. Oh, it's going up. So pretend you bought it and it's going up. Really. Take your screen, flip it upside down, and you'll make money. People can't make money just buying stocks. Everybody knows that. And QE, think what they've done with that QE. When you hear how stocks are going up because of earnings, what a bunch of crap that is. Remember, QE from 2008 to 2012 was the biggest con job ever. What'd they do? They went out and printed and created all this inflation of printing money. And then they took that money, increased the money supply, took that money and shoved it into the banks, right? So get the consumers buying. But they took that money and the Fed took the money and started to buy and gave it to the banks so they would start buying 10-year treasuries so that the interest rate would go down and meet the interest rate that the Fed had, where they dropped it to 0. So what they would do is it's okay when the Fed drops the interest rates to 0, That's good, right? That's the rate at which they loan money to banks overnight, right? But the Fed needs to get that 10-year yield down. Remember, the 10-year Treasury yield is the most important yield because that's the one that tells you what your interest rate is going to be on your business loans, what the interest rate is going to be on your credit card, what the business interest rate is going to be on your home, your automobile. That's the most important one you have to watch. So what the Fed does to get that down, the first thing they did is they go in this QE, print all this money. They gave it to the banks. And then the banks went out and bought for the Fed the 10-year Treasury. See, they don't control the 10-year Treasuries, the Federal Reserve. They don't control it. But they can control it in a sense if they print enough money, they give it to the 4 biggest banks, they go in the auction, they buy all these Treasuries. By buying the Treasuries, it drops the interest rates. And the interest rates start getting lower, start getting closer to the Fed rate. And that's how they boost the economy. But they're not boosting the economy on earnings. They did it by doing stock buybacks. Not only did they do that, artificially put these rates down, the 10-year Treasury down, then they took that money, over $14 trillion, and they bought $5 trillion in stock buybacks. So they printed $14 trillion, took $5 trillion of it between 2008 to where we are today. $5 trillion to keep all this stock buybacks going. That's why the market can never go down. It goes down, goes right back up. Goes down, goes right back up. And Trump will continue to do that. You'll see Monday will probably be right back up again. We keep getting these days we're negative 200, next day 300, then it goes back up, 203, but we continue to go up. So if you watch your IWM, small mid-cap stocks, as long as that keeps going up, giving you higher lows and higher highs, the market's going to keep going up. So when you see the market, the Dow's down 261 points today or 300 points, don't get excited, start selling. Why are you selling? And if you look at any stock you're in, like for example, one of our stocks we're in, which we made a lot of money on, okay, if I can find it here right now, okay, is our, I think it's our which one was it? I don't have it here. I don't want to waste time. Anyways, it was our VST, there we go. Our VST. Look at this, VST, one of our biggest stocks, one of our biggest winners. So when you're looking at a small group of stocks, then you can find when that stock starts turning green right here, right? It helps your computer. It works with your regular chart. You see you have red, green, all this crap. This one tells you exactly where to start your trade. So when it turns from red to green, then you go down and you look, and it tells you right there when you're looking, right there. That's where you start your trade. It tells you exactly. The Pro 2 tells you when to execute. And then, again, every time it starts pulling back, they start pulling back, and people say, get me out. You look, and guess what? You see that your stochastic never moved over. We have these 2 lines that will tell you, don't get out if the market's going down because we never had the stochastic crossover. So again, that means you're following the money. You don't follow the noise. You don't follow all these jibber jabbers because they're never going to be truthful with you. They work for Wall Street. So I hope you enjoyed this, okay? Join my gang, free for 10 days. Learn how to trade properly and safely. And take a look at my Pro 2 chart. Have a good weekend.
philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's